20 minutes of nonstop news begins with the search for two workers. It remains on hold after a deadly collapse in Grays Ferry. You are looking at video that shows the moment part of this parking garage under construction comes crumbling down. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Lena Tillett.
And I'm Kelsey Kushner. Right now, the site of the collapse remains too dangerous for rescue teams to resume their search. The stability of the building remains in question. There is so much concern we can't even fly Skyforce 10 at the scene because of a possible risk to the building.
We have live team coverage this afternoon with a look at the impact the collapse is having on people and businesses near the site, including the blocks of streets that remain closed right now. Let's begin with NBC 10's Brian Sheehan joining us live at the scene with the latest on the investigation and the search for the missing. Brian.
Yeah, so our crews have been out here since shortly after this happened yesterday afternoon. My crew and I got here around at 10 o'clock this morning, and since we have been here, we have not seen or heard any machinery sifting through the rubble. This is a look at the collapse site right now, and as my photographer Jim Friedman zooms in to the second floor, you can see a large crack. This is all, the focus here is in the area of the stairwell, but our view is partially blocked since we are being kept at a distance, and we have been asked to keep our chopper and drones away for safety's sake. It's our understanding that construction experts are diligently working to figure out how to deal with this site. The main priority right now for everyone here is finding the missing.
It is reported to be a parking garage under construction with workers trapped inside.
We are now getting to hear the first fire radio calls from yesterday afternoon, moments after a parking garage under construction partially collapsed in Grays Ferry.
They got an approximately 30-year-old male that was inside of the collapsed garage. He is completely unresponsive. He's being paced at the moment. We have tourniquets applied.
The incident killed one construction worker and trapped two others in the area of the stairwell of the 7-story structure. The search for the missing was still on hold this morning and into the afternoon. Officials said crews were waiting for a review of the building's structural integrity before continuing their search. Mayor Sherelle Parker vowing last night to find them.
We will not give up on these individuals, and we will not rest until everyone is accounted for from this tragedy.
Today, a truck with Pennsylvania Urban Search and Rescue arrived ready to help find the missing. The city says HSC Builders and Construction Managers is the contractor handling the construction of the garage, and Precast Services Incorporated is the subcontractor that Parker says was installing precast concrete floor decking and roof segments yesterday afternoon. Workers with both companies stood near the rubble. Some prayed with Police Chaplain Karen Harris, who wanted to offer support and pray for those missing.
Of course, they're worried and concerned about the gentlemen that are still in the building, but we're praying because we do know that God still has miracles.
The investigation into what caused the partial collapse is underway. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, better known as OSHA, tells NBC 10 it's handling the case and has 6 months to complete its review. Meanwhile, prosecutor Sidney Pope with the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office arrived at the scene around 12:30 this afternoon and spent time walking the secure grounds and getting a tour of the site. Law enforcement sources say her presence is part of standard protocol and that whenever the police department is investigating a death in the city, they reach out to the district attorney's office to assist with the investigation. Now, the president of HSC, which is the contractor, told me they will be releasing a formal statement at some point today. That will be the first time we hear from them since the collapse. We also reached out to the subcontractor, Precast Services. We are still waiting to hear back from them as well. We also reached out to Mayor Parker's office a few times today, asking them about any updates and when they will resume the search effort here at the collapse site. We are still waiting to hear back, but we will say Mayor Parker did say last night this is still very much a search and rescue operation. It is unclear if that has changed. That's the very latest live from here in Grays Ferry. I'm Brian Sheehan, NBC 10 News.
Well, right now, several roads around the collapse site are blocked. Stores near the scene are also closed for the day. NBC 10's Miguel Martinez-Valle is live in Grays Ferry with that part of our team coverage this afternoon. Miguel.
Yeah, and you heard from Brian. Crews, they're on standby here to continue search and rescue operations. The neighborhood itself also in a sort of standby right now. Take a look behind me here. This is a popular shopping center, Grays Ferry Shopping Center. You can see they've got a grocery store, they've got a post office out here, banks, but the only cars we're seeing in the parking lot are some of the crews out here and police that are keeping the area secure. This is one of many businesses that was shut down as this effort, the rescue efforts, continue here now. The collapse essentially shut down the Grays Ferry neighborhood. Grays Ferry Ave and connected side streets, they're closed from 33rd to 28th. It also resulted in the closure of nearby shopping center and it prompted the late night evacuation of the Animal Welfare Society's Paws Wellness Clinic. Other nearby businesses like Chef's Table catering workers today, they tell me that they were able to clock in, they went into work, but then they were sent home around 10:30 this morning because of the ongoing efforts at the collapse site. Neighbors hoping rescue efforts are successful and concerned about ongoing construction in the area.
Around here, the way they building up too fast, and the materials that seem like that they're using just ain't working.
It's sad to hear that. You know, it's somebody's father, somebody's son, somebody's brother. So definitely hope that they find them.
Yeah, a lot of neighbors really concerned about the rescue operations, hoping that they're able to locate the people that are still unaccounted for. Take a look over here, though. You know, as Brian mentioned, the crews right now, they're on standby. They're trying to get the okay to actually work on the building itself. But you can see there are trucks here and construction equipment that is being moved around on Grays Ferry Avenue. That's why they have the streets shut down. That's why they're having here the area behind me, the shopping center, clear. It's because they need the space for the crews that are responding to this emergency as the search and rescue and then eventually the cleanup continues out here in Grays Ferry. I'll send it back to you. I'm Miguel Martinez-Valle, NBC 10 News.
And I'm at DeLucia and Isabel Center. So I want to give you a look on a map of where Miguel has been talking about, where he is right now there by Grays Ferry, 28th Street up to 33rd Street. That is all closed. So there it is on the map. So let's zoom in a little bit here and show you that closure. So this is right off of the exit from I-76 there. So for the time being, you could take Wharton Street to get around this for the time being, all of these surface streets. But you just have to keep in mind that they could be very congested for that time being as you get around the scene. It could be closed for quite a while longer. Again, all those businesses are closed, so you don't have all of that traffic going in there for the time being. But again, this is something we're going to continue to watch here in the live center. But that is a minor detour, at least for the time being. Kelsey, back over to you.
NBC 10 has the coverage you count on air, online, and on social media. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at NBC Philadelphia. We spoke with several neighbors who talked about what they saw and heard yesterday. We have an entire section dedicated to the collapse on NBC10.com and the NBC 10 app. It includes video of the collapse, reactions from the neighborhood, and an interview with an expert on what could have caused the collapse.
This is NBC 10 News.
Right now at 4:32, workers missing after a deadly collapse at a construction site, but the search for them remains on hold this afternoon over concerns about safety. The rubble at the site remains mostly untouched since yesterday.
Authorities say right now it's just too unstable. One person was killed when a stairwell inside collapsed, and as we said, 2 people remain missing. NBC 10's Isabel Sanchez has been out at the scene for hours and joins us now live with the very latest. Isabel.
Rescue teams are ready and eager to get in, but as you said, right now is simply too dangerous. And let me paint a better picture for you so you have a better idea of what's been happening at the scene today. It's a lot of waiting and see, and take a look behind me. You can see some of that heavy machinery we've seen in the area in the past maybe hour and a half, getting a little bit closer to the scene, but no action directly on the location of the collapse because it's still, again, very unstable and dangerous. Of course, everybody eager to get back in and hopefully rescue these workers. A camera from a nearby neighbor captured the moment of the collapse. Throughout the day, crews have been assessing the situation. Traffic remains blocked near 30th and Grays Ferry and surrounding streets. Workers from a nearby shopping center were turned away by police this morning, and all businesses in the area remain closed. Earlier today, a group gathered for a vigil.
I really just want people to stand with the families and honor the workers and their families and pray for them.
Officials say the collapse started Wednesday when a concrete segment broke during installation, causing all 7 levels of a stairwell to come down. City officials say the chopped parking garage had all required permits and no active violations, but they note the precast concrete components were made off-site and subject to special inspection, not standard city oversight. Firefighters were able to pull 3 people from the rubble, but one of them later died at the hospital. 2 workers remain unaccounted for. And officials say there is no word yet on when that search will resume. We do know that we're seeing part of that equipment getting closer and closer to the building. So far, no update from the city or any other officials. We did reach out to the company who's the contractor in this project. They said that we can expect a statement from them at some point later today. Of course, we'll follow up on that information. But for now, I'm Isabel Sanchez, NBC 10 News.
A lot of prayers just for a miracle at this point. Isabel, thank you so much. NBC 10's full coverage of this story is on NBC10.com with the very latest on the investigation, the search, and the impact on neighbors. Look for the special section at the top of our homepage.